Hello, people. I am Tyler Felix, and this is Pass the Parsley. I hope you've been having a wonderful week. In this podcast, I'm going to be talking about some news regarding Conor versus Dustin Poirier. I'm also going to recap the Vittori versus Holland card, and there's some interesting news that came out. Well, not it came, but that develops from that involving Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's pretty interesting. So I'll start off here quick with the Conor versus Dustin Poirier thing. For people who haven't caught up on it, essentially Conor made a prediction that he's going to knock Dustin out in the fourth round with a front kick. And then Dustin replied to that and said, "That is a fun prediction. You also predicted a donation to my foundation, and you and your team stopped responding after the fight in January. See you soon. July 10th, paid in full." So he sent that tweet accusing Conor of bailing out on his donation that he promised to make after the fight. And then Conor responded to that saying that, "Yes, I offered a donation, not a debt. We've been awaiting the plans for the money that never came, as I do with all of my donations. I know where it's going, dot for dot. Otherwise, it goes walking." Sorry, just a bunch of ads fucking loaded in, and then oh my god. Our fucking pop-up ads are the goddamn worst, people. Anyways, back to Conor. Where the fuck is this tweet? Oh my god, MMA Junkie's dog shit. For anybody listening, do not use MMA Junkie. This fucking site is utter trash. My fucking god. So many ads, it's ridiculous. But anyways, as I was saying, Conor said that, yes, a donation, not a debt. We've been awaiting the plans for the money that never came, as I do with all of my donations. I need to know where it's going, dot for dot. Otherwise, it goes walking, as is the case for a lot of these foundations, sadly. You took the fight with me over the belt, which goes to show that I was right. which that last part was a little confusing, because it's like, what does that have to do with him not providing proper paperwork and proper plans for how he's going to spend that cash? Like, what does that have to do with him accepting the second fight with you instead of fighting Chandler for the title? It's just a weird position, and I feel like Conor probably should have just said nothing here, because he just made himself look like a fucking ass. But anyways, it goes on, and there was a few more tweets. Poirier said, 100% never a debt. You offered and we accepted. And like I said, your team never responded to our emails regarding the process of where the funds would be put to work. July 10th, you will taste defeat yet again. So that is what Dustin tweeted in response to that. Then Conor's fucking manager came in. There was a lot of back and forth, blah, blah, blah. But pretty much that is the story. That Conor was supposed to donate $500,000 to Dustin Poirier's charity, and he ended up not doing that. And he's stating that it's because Dustin didn't provide proper paperwork and a proper plan on how they would spend that money, so Conor didn't want to donate, which, I don't know. which kind of seems like a bunch of bullshit. It just seems like he lost and he didn't want to pay up, like, because of that. I feel like he was expecting to win that fight, and I'm pretty sure his win bonus on paper, it's like 500,000 and 500,000, or like some shit like that, and then of course he makes an extra 15 million or shit, or like some shit on top of that. But his contracted amount, I'm pretty sure, is 500,000 and 500,000. So I'm assuming that his win bonus he was just gonna give to Dustin, but he didn't win, so he didn't do that. I'm not sure if that's the case. I mean, I'm just speculating here, but Conor's excuse is very suspicious, where like the whole thing, oh, like your team had like no plan, and then Dustin was like, bro, we tried to contact you 3 times, like you didn't respond back. So, but I bring this up, like, I'm not going to sit here and read every tweet, but it's pretty much back and forth. But why I bring this up and like why this is so big is because Conor today tweeted, "You're ripped, you inbred hillbilly. Why do you wink with your ears?" Which, side note, what does that mean? Why do you wink with your ears? What? Which I googled that, and nothing came up. Like, I don't know. I don't think that's a fucking saying. Like, I couldn't find anything like anywhere like about that. There's a Jack Stauber song where he says like, "Don't blink your ears." Yeah, so it's like not even wink. He says, "Don't blink your ears." That also like doesn't make sense, but I think that was the point of that song. He's not trying to make sense. But here, like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Why do you wink with your ears? I've no idea. But anyways, you fucking brain dead hillbilly. 500K with no plan in place. Ye hang tight, fool. You must be new to money. The fight is off, which that's the big thing. He like says here, the fight is off. I'm going to fight someone else on the 10th. Good luck on your old contract, kid. Which is interesting because he's threatening, or he's saying that he doesn't want to fight Dustin now, like, because of this. Because it's like defamation of his character or some shit like that. But it's like, I think for it to be defamation, it has to not be true, buddy. Which this shit is true. So, I mean, like, you promised to donate this money and then you never did. I mean, that's not, like, he didn't make up anything. Like, he just said the fucking truth. And then Poirier fucking responded with K, and then posted a gif of him knocking out Conor, which is fucking savage. That is a great way. But honestly, like, I don't know, like, these tweets seem weird. It honestly feels like he was drunk or fucking something. Which I'm not sure if that was the case, because this was at, like 10:30, like, a.m. So I really hope he wasn't drunk at that time. Because the next tweet after that was just like, "Hey girls, it's like, what did he say?" He said that today is Mardi Gras, so show them titties or something like that. Oh, get your tits out. Just like, what? It's Mardi Gras. Get your tits out. That's so. What? Like, what? Like, what is he doing, dude? Like, I don't get what Conor's trying to do here. Like, I feel like he's just these seem like drunken tweets of just someone who's fucking just talking shit or something. But because I don't get, like, this whole situation is confusing on whether or not this fight is, like, off. Because really, like, you're going to cancel this fight because of that, where if the contract is, like, already signed, then hey bud, you can't cancel it. That's breach of contract. Like, he can refuse to fight, but they're not going to rebook him with just some random guy because he doesn't want to fight Poirier because he said something that is true. I mean, it's crazy. And sorry, I just got distracted because Conor shared a clip of Nick Diaz versus Paul Daly, and fuck, man, that's one of the greatest fights in MMA history, dude. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here. This fucking podcast is dog shit, people. I mean, I feel like it's getting, like, a little better, but it's like 0.5% better. So hopefully in, like, 5 years, I'll, like, go from dog shit to just shit. And then hopefully from shit to bad. And then from bad to decent. That is the goal here, people. But anyway, so according to this tweet by questionable Conor, like, I assume that he was drunk. I have no idea if he was. I have nothing to back that up, but these tweets are just weird. They're worded weird. He's saying weird shit. It's like, it just sounds like the fucking ramblings of, like, a drunk man. And I think he's been having too much of that proper 12 there. Definitely need to cut back there, but definitely need to cut back. But then after that, though, he just pretty much rephrased that and just said blah 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 blah. But then he said that you will pay with your brain for this a attempt of smearing my name. Shoot an ass, shell an ass bitch, little bitch kicks from a shell. Good luck when you're caught. You're fucked. So this dude went from the Poirier's fight off, the fight's off, to I'm gonna destroy you. You're fucked, and you just throw bitch kicks. Where it's like, inking, okay, Conor. I just love how he fucking says that. It's like, shoot an ass, shell an ass bitch. It's like, did Dustin Poirier really shoot that much in that fight? Like, I don't remember Dustin Poirier shooting at all, like, in that fight. I mean, like, I haven't watched it in like a few fights. And then shelling, it's like, yeah, like, what, do you just want him to stick his head up in the fucking air and just let you fucking hit him? Like, stupid. Then little bitch kicks. And those are the calf kicks. So he's just pretty much pissed off that Dustin was just shelling and just kind of blocking his stuff and just kicking the fuck out of that leg until Conor couldn't really move. And then Conor's back got pushed up against the cage. He got cracked, and then he got knocked out. So he says that he's a little bitch for fucking doing that, which is like, okay, Conor, okay. But I feel like all this did is just make Conor look like a real fucking douchebag, man. Like a real douchebag, man. Which, I mean, we have known that fucking Conor's a grade A douche for years. But it's like, it hasn't been in this tone, right? It's just more just he's like egocentric and stuff like that. But it's like, But now it's just kind of starting to get like, I don't know, man. This it just doesn't. It seems like he's definitely changed like a lot, which $500 million will fucking do that to you, right? But yeah, I feel like Conor's definitely lost his way, and I mean he like knows that too. Where I feel like that's why he came out and was just like, yeah, this camp, I'm going old school. I'm going to do this shit exactly how I did my first camp for my first fucking fight, which I think is very good, but it's also telling that he recognizes that he's changed a lot and not necessarily in the most positive ways. And then that's him trying to fix that by trying to go back to his old ways before he made that $500 million, right? So that's that. Like, I think all that this fight will happen, and Conor is just fucking going on some drunken rant at 10:30 in the fucking morning. Yeah, like this is just this was just weird. So I think that this is just, I don't think that they're going to cancel this fight because fucking Dana would be furious. Dana would be furious, and I don't think he would let Conor do that. And it's like, who will he face? I mean, because actually Chandler came out and was just, oh, he could fight Gaethje. Doy. Yeah, just fucking... Which, yeah. So, I mean, I guess they could throw in Gaethje, but, like, I don't think they'll do that. Like I just think that they'll just stick with this fight and just tell fucking Conor, be like, it's fine, bud. It's fine there, bub. Because if you really want to shut someone up, the way to not do it is not fight them. I mean, that just makes things worse and just proves Dustin's point more, that you're just a fucking douchebag. Right? So I would like to see Conor do right by Dustin and give him that money, but I feel like now there's definitely not going to happen, which Dustin said that he was going to build a new gym for like at-risk youth that could use it for free and stuff like that. So that kind of sucks that he can't do that now, or I'm sure he will still do it, but it'll just be a slower build because he just got that $500,000 that was kind of pulled from him type thing. But yeah, so I hope Conor does right and gives him the money, but he won't because he's out of his fucking mind. But anyways, I just went on a 20-minute fucking rant like about this shit. It's people, I like need to change something here because like I don't know if I should go written, just write this stuff out, because really I just like talking shit, right? Just I love fights. I've been watching it since like a little boy, like since I was 7, my entire waking life. I mean, some of my first solid fucking memories were like watching fights. I was watching Matt like Hughes and Tim Sylvia, like as like a little kid, just like, oh my god, like Matt Hughes is the greatest fighter ever. He's such a fucking beast. Like, and those are some of my first, like not my first memories, but some of my first solid memories that aren't, just kind of glimpses, because I feel like before 7, like a lot of those fucking memories are just, just dust in the fucking wind for me personally. So anyways, my entire waking life I've been watching fights, and I just want to talk shit, just talk about the news of that week, just give you my bets and break down the fights. But I also realize that there's a lot of people that do that, and there's people like Chael Sonnen and Michael Bisping that like do that, and it's like, I mean, they would definitely do a better job than fucking me. I mean, for certain. So it's like, so I'm kind of on a thing where I want to do more produced podcasts. Where there's one that I'm currently working on. I don't know if I want to make it a video or into a podcast about the dangers of weight cutting and all of the deaths that have happened, and essentially just how unnecessary and dangerous like weight cutting is, right? But the thing is that I've been working on like that. Just the research has taken a while, and doing that, I would only really be able to do it once, like per month. So I'm just kind of on this fence where I'm just like, what should I do? And I'm just kind of talking out fucking loud here because I know that nobody's gonna fucking listen. But but yeah, like I just don't know if I should. I don't know. People. Like, it's just like, I know that this is boring. I want this to be better. I want to be better. And yeah, no, like, I don't even know where the fuck I'm going with this, people. Essentially, I'm sorry that this shit is fucking boring, but I am trying to improve here, so that's pretty much it. I'll stop fucking talking about myself here and move on, because there was some big news. I mean, it's not really big like news, but it's funny news, and it's something that I didn't think would actually happen. But Julian Marquez, the man who spoiled fucking one of my bets, but excuse me, he had a brawl with Smiling Sam Alvey. And goddamn, that was a great fight. But Julian caught him, and Alvey did the classic kind of brawler's dilemma, right? Where he was rocked, and he should have just covered up, and he should have just circled out. But he's a fucking warrior. He's a fucking brawler. So he was rocked, and he was trying to throw bombs back. And in turn, he was just getting cracked more. And then he eventually got finished. But Julian Marquez, in his post-fight, he is from Kansas City. And he called out Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and Patrick Mahomes to a pickleball contest, which I didn't even know what like pickleball was like before this, but it's essentially just fucking the tennis, like off of the wall type thing, which I always knew what that was. I just didn't know what the fucking name of it was, but it's fucking pickleball. So but I bring this up is because all three of them accepted that Patrick said, I need a couple weeks, but I'm always down for a challenge, which is funny. And then Tyreek Hill says, I'm down, where he has the fucking Twitter handle of Cheetah. Like, how did he get that? And goddamn, is that so fucking fitting, because Tyreek Hill's speed is ungodly. Like, that man is so ridiculously quick. It shouldn't be, like, humanly possible, right? He just makes other, like, trained athletes, other men who are the fastest guys, you know, on Earth, pretty much. And he just blows right by them, and nobody could fucking catch up to this guy. It's insane. But anyways, and then Travis Kelce said, we can settle all this up at Chicken and Pickle. Let's fucking go. Which, by the way, that's a great name for a fucking restaurant, dude. And they serve chicken, and you could play fucking pickleball. And it's chicken and pickle. That's fucking sick. but that's just really cool. Like, and I hope that, like, they would make it, like, a little more, you know, kind of produced, so that us fans could get like an inside look. Like I hope that they don't just do this kind of privately. Like I hope they make like a little vlog or like some shit, because that shit would be really funny. Cause imagine if fucking Julian wins. That would be fucking amazing, man. That would be so great if he beats all three of them, like three of the best athletes, like in fucking Kansas City currently, and then he beats them in fucking pickleball. That would be fucking fantastic. So, there's no set date, but I assume that it would be sometime in the summer before the football season starts, and hopefully they do a vlog or some shit, so like that we can watch this, because this will actually be pretty funny. And I will be rooting for Julian Marquez, baby. Let's fucking go. But anyways, that was pretty much the big news of this week is Conor saying that the Dustin Poirier fight is off, which I think it's a hollow threat, So I was debating not talking like about it. I mean, like I wasn't going to until he posted that tweet where it's like the fight's off, because like before that it was just kind of dumb back and forth bullshit, just fighters tweeting fucking back and forth. So it's like, yeah, like I didn't really think much of it until Conor was like, yo, I ain't fighting now, bitch. I ain't fighting. I don't want to fight you now. But anyways. What the fuck? What the fuck is this, people? God damn, I'm terrible at this. For all of my 10 fucking listeners, don't listen. This is fucking dog shit. Just put on like a better fucking podcast. Like, Josh Potter or fucking something like that. He does his fucking podcast a lot better than fucking me, guy. And he's actually funny. And I'm not. Which is sad, people. Brings a tear to my eye. But anyways. The fuck. Okay, I will quickly talk about the fight this week. Or this past Saturday. Because, did I talk about the... Oh, yeah. So, I don't think I had a chance to talk about Bellator, but Bellator pretty much it's exactly what I thought would happen, and Bader just kind of took down Machida and then mollywopped him. The card was pretty uneventful. I mean, I feel like every fan saw that coming from a mile of fucking way, but Bader did get rocked in that first round. He got caught with a head kick clean, got rocked. But after that point, it was pretty much just all Bader. And Machida was throwing a lot of kicks, so he landed a lot of nice kicks. But, as soon as it got to the ground, it was kind of just over, right? Similar to the main event of this past fucking UFC, Marvin Vettori versus Kevin Holland. Now, this fight wasn't that surprising because, I mean, Kevin Holland just fought like 2 weeks or like 3 weeks back, and Derek Brunson fought him exactly this same way, where he just kind of grinded him out, was just taking him down just over and over, and Marvin saw that, and I feel like he's way too smart of a fighter to not do that. So, and it was pretty much the same, where once Marvin got the fight to the ground, that round was essentially over. Where, like, Kevin Holland, there's just a lot of opportunities where he could try to stand back up and try to scramble, and then he just goes for, like, up kicks and, like, stuff like that, and his defensive wrestling is definitely his weakest point, right? I mean, I'm not a fucking wrestler. I'm sure that Holland would probably fucking dunk me on my fucking head, but there's just a lot of the basics that he's not doing. Where, I'm just not gonna repeat what they said on the fucking broadcast and just act like I'm fucking some fucking guru because I just repeat what fucking DC says. But he was doing a lot. He wasn't doing a lot of basic things. And I mean the basics of any grappling, right, is always to fight the hands. Fight the hands. When it comes to takedowns, comes to chokes, or anything like that. If you can't connect your hands, you're essentially going to get nothing, right? So everything stems from that, right? That basic principle of controlling their hands. Where that's something that Kevin Holland wasn't necessarily doing. He was just doing the classic where, you just kind of spread your hips really wide, just make your base super wide, kind of push down on the top of their head, like that type of stuff. But it's like against a really good wrestler, that's really not gonna do shit. And yeah, I feel like Kevin Holland definitely can improve and get to that point where really Kevin Holland is like Francis, where he just needs to learn how to stuff that takedown. Which as far as grappling, that's probably the fastest skill that you can build up is takedown defense, right? Like it's a lot harder to build up, transitions and getting back up and stuff like that. Where, I mean, Holland's like a black belt, so I know he knows these sweeps and he knows it, right? But I feel like he gets to this point where he doesn't want to try it because he doesn't want to get tired, and then he's very confident with his strikes off of his back and his subs, so he just tries to fight for subs and he tries to strike off of his back, and then when the moment's right, then he'll try to explode up. But it's like he's not creating these chances, which I mean, I can see why, because when you try to get back up and then you fail, you use a lot of energy and you can get really, really tired really, really quick, and then now you're tired as fuck, and then the guy on top is not really that tired because he didn't really have to work much. He just had to hold you down, right? Where you were trying to explode and do all this crazy shit, and yeah, so I could definitely see why he didn't really go for it a ton. So that's definitely something that Kevin Holland can fix, and then once he fixes that, I mean, really, in that weight class, I think Izzy's the only guy that could really stand with him. And Holland's striking is ridiculous, man. He's really, really good. He's really long. The power that he has for his frame is just ridiculous, because he's a pretty thin guy. I mean, he's not super thin, but you would look at him and be like, yeah, this dude. This dude hits hard, but nah, dude, he has bricks. This fucking man was just, I mean, that Buckley fight, man, those straight rights were fucking devastating, man. Devastating. Gets a lot of power. So I think on the feet, he could beat every guy in that weight class. But everybody knows the fucking cheat code now. Everybody knows that game plan, which is to grind him out. So we'll see how he can recoup after this. Hopefully he takes a long time off. DC said that he will train him and he will teach him how to fucking wrestle, pretty much. Where, I mean, there's really not a better guy than DC, right? So if that was like a serious offer, and Holland trains a lot with DC, I can definitely see him making huge leaps because, as I said, like, I feel like his problems is just the basics in wrestling, where those could be skills that he could easily learn, right? And could easily add like them to his toolkit in a pretty fast time. I like feel like we saw with Francis that, right? I mean, this man had no takedown defense at all, and granted, Stipe only shot in like I think once, so we don't really know. But just from that little burst that we saw Francis's takedowns and takedown defense, which like this is a thing that a lot of people didn't talk like about, is that Francis got a takedown. Francis took down Stipe. Stipe didn't get a takedown on Francis, and then Francis stuffed it and then took Stipe down and then fucking took his back. So that goes to a show that it's definitely possible to improve your takedown defense in a short period of time. I think you can do it a lot faster than, you know, your wrestling defense once you're on your back too, because that's like a huge thing too, is that the sport of wrestling, wrestlers patented are not that great on their back, right? Because the sport is so much, it's such an offensive sport, right? That it's all about preventing getting to that point. So it's not so much about fighting once you're on your back, it's about preventing getting on your back in the fucking first place. So, but anyways, like, I don't know where the fuck I'm going with that, but Holland looks good, besides for the fact that he got grinded out. I mean, fucking Marvin looked like a beast. He's a very smart fighter. So I am not shocked by this. Excuse me. At all. And I got this bet right. It was off the top of my head, I don't have it in front of me, but I think it was minus 142 to go over 2.5 rounds, which I really liked that because I thought this fight was going to play out how it did play out, right? Where it was going to be a very grinding fight, and Marvin, I don't think has ever been finished, and Kevin Holland, I think has only been finished once or something like that. I forgot. That's just off the top of my head. But yeah, so Marvin has never been finished, and Kevin Holland, I think he's only been finished once, and that was to a choke against Brendan Allen. Yeah. And then, and then he lost. Yeah, so he's lost by a choke fight. So I feel like it wasn't a huge leap to guess that this fight would go all 5 rounds. So that was that, and then my other bet was Marquez and Alvi for that to go over 2.5 also. I failed with that one. My prediction was like right in the aspect of that I knew exactly how this fight would like go. They're fucking brawlers. They went out there and fucking brawled, right? And both of them showed that they had amazing chins, but Sam was just taking like way too much fucking damage. Like way too much damage. Oh yeah, and then he choked him unconscious. Yeah, like I think I said before in the podcast that he TKO'd him, but he didn't. He fucking choked him unconscious. Like, I forgot about that. That was fucking brutal. And Mike Perry, man, it's kind of sad what Mike Perry is going through. You know, he's at he's had this huge drought, and then his tweet was just like, I don't know what's wrong with that. Like, I used to be good, and then now, I'm not. And I mean, I feel like it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to just be like, dude, you're not affiliated with any camp. And his coaches are just random fucking people. He doesn't have real cornermen. So it's like, of course you fell off a fucking cliff, man. Of course you fucking did. I mean, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist, right? And then Mike, I also feel like I don't know, he seems a little punchy. And that's kind of sad because I hate when guys get to that point. But Mike Perry seems punchy, and he's a pretty young guy to be that way. But yeah, so Mike Perry got his ass whooped, and it was kind of brutal to watch, because those are the fights that really fuck you up, people. It's not the crazy knockouts, right? Where you see some dude get flatlined and then he goes out cold. Most of the time when that happens, there's not really long lasting damage from that. But what lasts is the sub-concussive blows, where instead of just getting hit with one shot and then you just get knocked out, it's like this Perry fight where he was just getting fucking cracked over and over and over again. And he has an amazing chin, so he just wasn't dropping and he wasn't falling. And that's just a lot of brain trauma, right? And that's not good for you at all. And Mike Perry has had a lot of those fights, so I'm definitely concerned for him, in the long term, because I feel like that's something that people don't really talk about in this sport. But a guy like Mike Perry, I mean, him at 50, I feel like is gonna be you see it with Mike Tyson and all of these old school boxers where they are punchy. I mean, you hear Tyson talk now, dude, and he slurs most of his words, and yeah, it's just kind of sad that that's the price you pay for this sport. But I mean, when does it get to a point where somebody steps in and are just where I think of a guy actually Tony Ferguson, right? To where that Justin Gaethje fight, man, that really changed him. That really changed him. And you can't take a beating like that and be the same, right? And I feel like we saw that, and I think the Tony of old died in that fight, man. That was just a brutal beating. And when does it get to a point where, because if Tony gets his ass beat again, it's do you just keep on booking him, right? Because it's just when does it get to a point where you stop, right? Where you say, hey, you can't fight because you're going to give yourself CTE and shit like that, where I think Maine does it or something like that. But there's certain states that they do brain scans, and they do periodic brain scans, where I feel the fucking UFC should do that. The same thing how they kind of monitor your weight as soon as you come in. They do that, and they're on track of guys constantly when it comes to their weight. They should do the same thing with their brains, right? Where have them take a scan every single fight, and once you see that it's degenerating, it's you need to tell that guy to stop fighting, which I don't think they do that, and I don't think they want to, because they know that they would lose a lot of guys if they did that. But I mean, that's the price you pay of combat sports. that's why if you're not a fighter and you're out there just training and just boxing and sparring like and like shit like that, don't do it. There's literally no point, man. No point. Just hit the fucking heavy bag, just hit the fucking pads, roll, grapple, but there's no point to be taking head trauma, man. Like, that shit is so brutal, and it really doesn't take much to affect you for the rest of your life, right? And a lot of the times that it won't rear its head until 10, 15, 20 years down, right? I mean, obviously, if you've gone into like 5 fights, I mean, like, I'm sure that like you'll be fine. If you sparred like a dozen times, like, you'll be fine. But it's like, if you're out there, you're sparring every week for multiple years and multiple times per week, it's like, and you're not a fighter, it's like, don't do it. That's just a waste of your brain. Like, you're going to fuck yourself up, right? And that's an aspect of the sport that people don't really talk about. And like, I really want to make more highly produced things and kind of center a like around these this dark side, right? There's like a lot of these fighters destroy themselves physically and also mentally, right? In hopes of becoming great, in hopes of making a shit ton of money. And 99% don't. 99%. That most of these guys, that you're lucky if you get to a point where you're making, you know, 50,000 and 50,000, right? Like 50,000 to show and then 50,000 to like win. And at that rate, that money's not going to last you. Like, making $100,000 like per year, it's like, yeah, that's great for a salary. But as far as long term, that's not going to last, and that's not like enough money for what these guys are like making. And there's a lot of guys that make a lot less. There's a lot of guys that are guys that you'll never know because they're just career like, I forgot what that's called, like, not like, just career mid-tier guys that, you know, have 30-40 fights, but, you know, they're like 20-10, or, you know, they're fucking 15 and like 15, right? And it's like, there's a lot of guys like that fight for 2-2, for 5-5, and they're fucking themselves up, and they're getting damage that lasts their entire lives. And it's really, really sad. And I feel like it's an aspect of the sport that the powers that be actively try to suppress, right? Whenever there's an inquiry like about the dangers of weight cutting or the dangers of getting knocked out and concussions and stuff like that, that the fucking UFC, they have patently just dismissed it and just shot him down, and then nothing gets done. And then the sport is a little young, so you're not really getting the same things that you would in like boxing. But I don't necessarily think that there's a way that you could change it. Well, no, because I think what I said before would be a great step. If they scan their brain every single time that like they come in there, which I understand that would be a lot of money, but they have the Apex, right? So I'm sure that they could just buy like the I think the MRI is the brain scan, right? Which one, but I'm sure that they can just buy that because, you know, they're spending $500 million to build this fucking building. It's like, why not put that there too, right? And, like, then you don't have to outsource this. And then now you don't have to pay out the fucking ass to, like, get these guys to, like, get their, like, brains scanned and get their brains checked and make sure that they're not doing long-term damage. And it would also do a lot for research, right? Because there's not a ton out there because it's suppressed. It's suppressed by every single sport. Like, if there's a person, if there's a school, if there's a company that's trying to look into this stuff, they are suppressed and they are silenced because football and combat sports, that it's just apparent that these guys are getting head trauma. That's the last thing that gives them damage that lasts them for the rest of their fucking lives. And it's apparent and it's obvious. And I feel like if everybody knew how widespread this shit was, that it would be a massive issue. It would be a massive issue. These companies would have to change their sports, their rules, where football, you like see them definitely changing it now, but you still see guys just getting fucked up like every week. And that fucking lineman, like, they're smashing their heads. Like, these dudes are 350, 400 pounds, fucking 6'6", like behemoths. And they're running full sprint and just smashing fucking heads, man. Every single play. And it's the same thing with fighting, where you're getting punched in the fucking head multiple times per week in just, like, training. And that does so much damage. Like, so much damage. Which now there's a lot of fighters that are going towards the, light sparring or no sparring period, which I think is something that, as a young fighter or someone like that you really need to be conscious of that, because there's a lot of gyms that have, like, an old school style, and, like, they don't care if you just get knocked out, in the gym, which is, like, kind of crazy, because it's just, like, actually Brendan Schaub, he, like, talked about how his head coach, he would pay his sparring partners, it was like $500 if, like, he could knock out Brendan. And it's like, what? Like why do you want that? Like, why? Because, like, every knockout you get in the gym, every time you get rocked, that is one less strike that you could take in a live fight, right? Because really, like, your, like, brain trauma, it's like a health bar, kind of, right? Where you only have a certain amount of hits that, like, you can take, right? And let's just say it's like 10,000 punches. So if you can only take 10,000 punches without degrading your chin and your brain and all this shit, then if you're using up those 10,000 punches in the gym, then you're not going to have it in the fight. And, like, you're going to get, your chin will, like, grade, which I feel like Brendan Schaub, that's probably why he was kind of known for, his chin wasn't the best. And I feel like it's fucking from that shit. That he was sparring with Shane Carwin. He was having a coach that was paying guys to, like, knock him out. And just stuff like that, man. And it's like, it's just fucked up. I don't really know where I'm going with this, people, or what I'm saying, but I mean, this all started with Perry, right? How he got really fucked up, man. And you cannot take too many of like those types of fights without being permanently fucked up if he's not already. Which he's showing the signs of, like, CTE pretty much, right? He has that personality change. He's becoming more and more unhinged. I mean, the thing where he was kicking, like, a glass door, slapping, like, his fucking like wife. He punched that old dude at a fucking bar. It's like, those are all signs of brain damage, right? So I really hope that he doesn't end up fucking himself up, like by the time that he's 50, that he needs to, eat from a fucking straw, or he doesn't know where everything is. Like, just look at Gary Goodridge. Gary was one of the first guys in history to be diagnosed with CE and still living. That most of the time that they can only find this out by cutting your head open and like looking at your fucking brain. So, but you just see his health and how he's degraded like so much. It's really, really sad. And this is a man that gave his life to the sport, to us fans, and the man is only 55, and it's just really sad. And Gary is just one of them, right? There's a lot of cases. There's a lot of minor league guys that go through the same shit that you never heard of because they never made it, but they had the fucking 50 fights. They got knocked out a fucking dozen times, and it's like when does it get to a point where we need to protect these fucking guys from fucking themselves up? Like, which I don't think it'll ever get to that point, really, because they would have to stop a lot of people's careers short, I feel. Because if Mike Perry, if you scanned his brain now, and if you scanned it like 10 years back and compare those, I know for certain that this man has brain damage, 100%, and I'm willing to bet that 80% of fighters do, right? And then you see a lot of guys like Nick and Nate Diaz, man, they're both kind of punchy, and it's kind of sad, and it's because of that style. It's because of them getting into wars, absorbing punches, and this shit's just sad. Like, I've been going on like a rant like about this shit for a while. Like, I feel like I haven't even made like a point or really said much, but yeah. So I want to make better content and better produced content, and then my main goal is to shine a light on really these dangerous parts of the sport where head trauma and weight cutting are two really dark, nasty things that almost every single fighter goes through. Almost every single fighter. And the brain trauma thing, it's just like how much of an extent that most guys, it's fine. That most guys, when they get knocked down and stuff, it's just like a headache and stuff like that. But it's like they're experiencing something. And it's like, and brain trauma can be a very weird thing where you can recover and then be fine. And then 20 years down, it really just rears its fucking head. And then CTE, right? So it's like, yeah. So I just want to find a way to talk about this and do like a decent job, like do like a good job, not like these podcasts that are just rushed out and fucking terrible. Like I actually want them to be good. So yeah, people, this fucking podcast is, I don't even know what this podcast was. I mean, I went from Conor to 1FC to like, no, I didn't talk about 1FC. What the fuck? Talked about Conor. I talked about whatever the fuck. My bets. I went 2-1, which is my goal, people, to give me at least 2 out of 3 bets that hit. I think now I'm like think I'm 9-6 now, which isn't bad. And betting anything above 500 is fucking great. All right, so yeah, but this fucking podcast has been terrible. I'll just wrap it up here. I am your dog shit host, Tyler Felix, and if there's anybody listening, I love you with all my heart. This has been Pass the Parsley, and I hope y'all have a wonderful week.